top of the hour. We're giving you guys enough time to get those bets in for the primetime games, and that's what we do here on the drive-thru Monday through Friday here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's deliver live free sports picks for the games beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and later. Deliver those winners, our professional handicappers over at Pick Dogs and Sports Chat Place. Let's take a peek at who's on the show with us for today. All right, big guy McMordie with us, Chris Ruffolo. It's Wednesdays with Mitch. Rod Zawacky, Dana Lang will be in bottom of the hour, and it'll be Wayne Scott. Here's how we'll line up for this evening. Ruffolo, Mitch McMordie, Scott, Zawacky, Lang, then I will close this one out. All right, action here for you on a Wednesday features a single game here from Major League Baseball. We've got a few on the ice, a couple from college football. So let's get this one underway. Let's go ahead and welcome in Chris. Catch him over at Pick Dogs. Catch him in the mornings here during the week, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll bring Chris in right now. Some hockey coverage from Chris today. One of the two games on the card. We'll bring him in here, ready to roll with Chris. Chris, what's happening?
Tony, it's weird. I'm so used to having afternoon action on Wednesday the last few weeks, and now we've only got one baseball game and a couple of hockey, couple of college football. I kind of don't know what to do with myself, but that's okay. I have to remember the busy days are coming. So
yeah, well, don't worry. Next week there'll be 12 NBA games on Wednesday, so don't worry about that because we're doing that 2-12 or 2-13-2 schedule, right? When they give you two games on Tuesday, two on Thursday, and then they load them up. Then they load them up on Wednesday and Friday. So that's how they do it. But don't worry, hockey plays that game too, right? They kind of rotate with the NBA. They share arenas. But you don't have to worry that in some cities in Canada. Here, we just seen some line movement here. Senators here to host the Capitals tonight. Yeah, we see the Senators here. Oh, they're getting respect here. Minus 178. They've been listening to Rod. Total sits here 6.5.
And Tony, don't remind me. There's a 16-game card next Tuesday for the NHL. But anyways, we look at this one, and this is a young Senators team that really took strides last year. They had been the laughingstock of the NHL for, I'd say, a 4 to 5 year period. There was really no hope in Ottawa. They were hoping that the team would get sold, and it finally has been. It's under new ownership. But now you saw the Senators take steps in the right direction last year. And one thing that was key for the Senators was that they played their best hockey at home. Of the teams that didn't make the playoffs last year, of the 16 teams that didn't make it, the Senators had the most amount of wins at home by any team that missed the playoffs. They had 24 wins at home last season, and we've already seen them pick up a pair of wins at home this year against the Flyers, and most recently a 5-2 win over a Tampa Bay Lightning team that has some question marks in terms of goaltending, but is still one of the more complete teams in terms of forwards and defense in the NHL, and that's still a quality win. And the Washington Capitals, while it's not often you're going to see the Washington Capitals at this kind of plus money price, I think it is justified. The Washington Capitals are not getting any younger. This is a team that was ravaged by injuries last year, so we'll have to see if they can finally stay healthy. But for me, they just haven't looked impressive out of the gate. They got taken to the woodshed by the Penguins at home in their opener. They barely beat the Calgary Flames in a shootout last time out. I think going to Ottawa, where the Sens play their best hockey, I think Ottawa plays their best hockey tonight. I think they get the job done. You can play the money line if you want. Minus 178, a little bit steep for me. I'm going to go to the Senators in regulation and get that price down to minus 110.
All right, Chris, on the 60-minute line here, regulation, avoid overtime here, minus 110 here against the Capitals. Yeah, Capitals over team. Senators, of course, so far living up to the expectations, right? It's been a while. We've seen some success from these teams, but you see a playoff berth for the Senators this year?
It's going to be tight. They were competitive. I think they were the second team out in the Eastern Conference last year. So I think if you had told fans that they'd be playing meaningful hockey in March and April, they'd be happy with it. Could they get there? I think they could sneak in the back doors, maybe the final wild card team if everything goes well. But there's still the Senators to me sometimes feel like the Buffalo Sabres, where you're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and that they have a hot start, and then you're waiting for the losing streak to kick in. And I'm worried about that with the Senators because I don't know how used to this sort of sustained success they are. But I think there is a high ceiling for the Ottawa Senators if everything goes their way this season.
Are you kind of buying into the preseason talk here that the Stanley Cup will be hoisted by a Canadian team this year? There's a lot of talks around.
I always believe in that hype as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, and I've been let down every year that I've been alive. So I can't say that Look, this is the way I look at it. Almost a quarter of the field is Canadian, so we have a 1 in 4 shot. It feels like, but until it happens, I'll believe it when I see it.
All right, there you go from Chris here. Senators in regulation, minus 110 here against the Capitals. The start here at 7 p.m. Eastern time. All right, Chris, let's take a look over at Pick Dog for tonight's action. As we said, we got the big playoff game tonight from Major League Baseball. A few on the ice, a couple here from college football as well. Head into a big weekend. Remember, the NFL kicks off again Thursday night tomorrow. More action as well. Great start to the NFL season. Also showing great results last 7 days. Yesterday was a big day. What do you have going on over at Pick Dogs Premium?
Well, Tony, like you said, small card tonight, so I've only got my $19 MLB pick-off play and a play from college football tonight. But this is a great time to go long-term because even the 3-day will cover you for Thursday night football. It'll cover you for all the college football, all the NHL. There's a massive NHL card tomorrow, some MLB action, and it'll get you Saturday's college football. And I normally have a pretty decent-sized card on Saturday. And if we get the plays in early enough, you can get some NFL in there as well for Sunday. So definitely check it out, whether it's just with me or someone else that's part of the multi-capper promotion. Great way to save some cash at Pick Dogs. And also remember to use that promo code PICK at checkout for 15% off your purchase.
That's right, guys. Got to go with Chris to see the great results here from the NFL from Chris and get on board with the long-term passes up there. Of course, remember the promo code PICK at checkout will save you 15% off. Also, to a good start in the NHL this year, coming off a really good NHL season last year. Thinking back at it again, of course, Chris finished strong in the NFL as well in 2022. So combine the past two seasons, over 2,000 units of profit, close to 2,200 units of profit the last two seasons, NFL from Chris. So go ahead and get signed up. Look for those long-term passes. All right, Chris, as always, great having you show. Continue that great success. We'll catch up with you again next week. But let everybody know we can catch you on the morning shows as well as your NHL wraparound series.
Yeah, I've got me hosting the morning show next couple days. Which will be back sooner rather than later. But for me right now, I'm going to be taking over the reins tomorrow. And yeah, you mentioned the wraparound. I've had a lot of fun doing it. We've had a lot of early success with it. We're just going to keep rolling forward. Like you said, tons of fresh content at Pick Dogs. So make sure that you have those notifications turned on. Make sure you're subscribed so you get the newest and freshest content when we drop it. That's
right, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, set those notifications so when Chris's videos drop or that morning show's on, you get tuned in right away. You get in early. You get the best numbers. All right, Chris, have yourself a great evening, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Sounds good, Tony. Take care.
You as well. Chris Ruffolo here on the Drive-Thru. Let's continue on here on the Drive-Thru. Let's welcome in Mitch. I'll bring him ready to roll with Mitch. Catch him at Pick Dogs Premium morning shows as well. Mitch, what's happening?
Not much, Tony. Just, it's a light day in sports, but we know once Tuesday rolls around of next week, the whole complexion of sports and the landscape of these daily shows and everything changes all the way through, for quite some time, through to around this time next year, maybe even the All-Star break. We'll get a few days, but we know Tuesday just 2 NBA games, but then Wednesday they come full force, and then November 9th, I think they start off with a few hundred college basketball games and doesn't slow down from there. So, before you know it, we'll be talking college football bowl season, NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, March Madness, back into baseball.
That's right. Well, let's get into March Madness shit. I look forward to all those holiday tournaments in college basketball. Love the day action.
It happens fast, though. It just happens so fast. Right?
I know. The holiday tournaments. Who's playing in Maui this year?
Really, our last couple days. This is our last couple days.
Yeah, I love the Bahamas tournament, the Battle for Atlantis. I love that court. The lighting there it always looks awesome in that court there. So I like the start of college basketball. Of course, Kentucky #1. We'll see how it rolls. Mitch, any early team to look at this year? Or have you started yet, or just off last year?
I like Miami again. I think last year made it to the Final Four, returned everybody except for Wong, and Pack appears to be one of the best players in the nation this year, point guard. They lost they lost actually 2 players from last year's team, but still just 1 starter. So 4 returning starters from last year's team that went to the Final Four. Of course, they were an Elite 8 team 2 years ago, and starting, not very highly ranked. So once again, going to be tons of value on the Canes. More than likely, they'll take an early stumble. They usually do against a bad team, and we'll get even more value.
Yeah, that's right. Interesting, not this year, but the following season, how the West Coast teams will impact the Big Ten grinded out style.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting there, and I think also we have the Pac-12 teams also entering the ACC. Stanford and
Cal and SMU. So, SMU, another one.
Yeah, I think I gotta say, I think the ACC when it comes to academics could be the lockdown champ.
Yeah,
with, Duke, Cal, and Stanford all in the same conference.
That's right, no doubt. All right, getting back to ACC talk here, Mitch. Clemson in Miami. It's been a rough couple of weeks here for Miami on the field and on the sidelines here. We see Clemson favored in this one, 3, total 48.5.
Well, conference play is going to be conference play in college football, and we're not going to see teams be at their very best in every single game. We saw Georgia really not play their very best game up against Vanderbilt. We saw Alabama struggle at home against Arkansas. So, I mean, teams struggling in conference play against conference opponents is what makes college football just a different sport every single week. And we saw Miami, even in that game against Georgia Tech, that, they gave the game away, and really they should be 5-1 coming into this game. Outside of, they shouldn't have 2 losses. They should just have 1, but they have 2. They lost the game. The thing is, they played poorly in that game most of the way around, and, they deserved to win, but they did not play well. And I think, when we look at this Miami team, certainly a team on the rise any way you slice it. Even me, the most optimistic and, Cane fan that there is out there, really did not like them going into North Carolina and Chapel Hill last week to do anything at all. If you guys watched my video of the game, the live show or a college football preview show I did 2 college football preview shows. I picked North Carolina in all of those, even though the sharp money was all on Miami in that game. It was a really bad matchup for the Canes because what happens in the second half of those games on the road in Chapel Hill, same thing that's happened almost every single visit there. They just go over the top on Miami. And while Miami, when they have the athletes and they have the depth and they have the lead, it's a different story. And they didn't have any of those things going into that. They certainly had their chances against Carolina to be in better position. They didn't take advantage of it, but it was all part of a learning experience. But here comes Clemson, a team that's really had Miami's number in recent years. But prior to that, they'd always played really, really close games against Miami. And I think, while they did take that loss to Georgia Tech where they fumbled the ball in a game they could have taken a knee, learning experience. And, if you look back at the 5 prior games to that, Miami had run the ball out in all those games as well. But the thing is that, the Clemson series has been a little bit of a different animal. And Clemson has really blown them out of the building in recent years. But this Clemson team is not nearly the Clemson team that we've seen in recent years. Not necessarily because they don't have NFL talent or top tier, ESPN top 100 recruits across the board. It's because the quarterback play just isn't really there. And Cade Klubnik, hardly a Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence, not even really a DJU. I think he's been one of the more disappointing quarterbacks that Clemson's had. And I think what we see from him is he reminds me a lot of Jordan Love on the Green Bay Packers, where he doesn't throw the ball down the field effectively. He's more of an out pattern type guy where he throws it just almost like these screen passes to the running back, from sideline to sideline. And what happens there is eventually, if you play a team that's fast enough, you get a cornerback that steps in front and they take it to the house on you. And I think that that's going to happen in this game, that there'll be a fumble, a turnover by Clemson that Miami scores a touchdown on. And I think that's going to be a difference maker here. I think the Canes win a very, very hard-fought game. It might come down to a last-second field goal. It might come down to overtime. It might come down to any of those things, but I think Miami wins this game. I think they win a close game, and I think, while I never said that this would be Miami's year, I still think they might be at least a year or 2 away from being able to compete against the Alabamas of the world. I think they beat Clemson this year. I also think they beat Florida State and Tallahassee, but that's a different story for a different show. But I think Miami's headed in the right direction. I love what Mario Cristobal's doing. I love this team. I think we can see where the holes are, but we could also see a lot of NFL talent there. And I think they hang with Clemson in the game in Miami. Miami wins it outright.
Miami has Mitch here with Miami outright winner, money line plus 127. Do your line shopping, get the best numbers. Yeah, one thing here with Miami is the defense has shown improvement. Also, the defense for Clemson, they're not giving up 11, 12 a game. They're giving about 20 a game. But, of course, the concern here, Mitch, has been the play of Van Dyke, right? 5 interceptions in those 2 conference games.
Well, the thing is that in those conference games, some of those interceptions, they count those, those heaves and everything. Those all count the same as interceptions in the stat line. He threw a couple bad passes against Georgia Tech, and he did throw a bad pass against North Carolina. But overall, he's been on the money. And Miami's 4 deep at running back. They've been missing, one of their big offensive linemen, and their center is also injured as well. So Miami has a great offensive line, but missing a couple key pieces. And I think with those guys back, and I think that they're going to play just fine here against Clemson. We've seen Miami has 2 NFL quality wide receivers, and I look for those guys to have big games. We've seen Miami have these type of wide receivers in the past, and we'll see these guys on Sundays for sure. These 6'5" big guys, that just can catch it, can go right over the top on those even fast defensive backs. These guys remind me more of the Andre Johnsons and Reggie Waynes than the guys that we've had in recent years, who are all in the NFL as well.
Yeah, and have to also be, that game in week 2 against Texas A&M, although you don't like to look too far back, you got to be impressed with that victory. Even Miami O seems to be a pretty good MAC team this year.
Yeah, I think that, Miami, the Hurricanes are headed in the right direction. I think the Georgia Tech game was a tragedy, and that was one of the worst losses they've ever taken as a program. But I think when you look at the overall direction of the program, the recruits that are coming in and the current commits, that this program is going to be very, very, very good. It all starts, for Miami with keeping your recruits home, drawing that fence around Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, and saying, you know what, some of the guys just are going to leave because that's what they do. They want to go out of state, or, with image licensing, someone made them an offer they can't refuse, and there's all those things. But generally, if you can keep a good portion of those players home, you're going to compete for a national championship every single year. And we're starting to see that with Mario Cristobal, former Miami player and a Miami guy all the way, going into Miami Central, going into Miami Northwestern, getting these players to stay home. The number 3 or 4 overall recruit in the country, a defensive lineman from Miami, says, I'm staying home. I'm staying in Miami. I want my family to see my games. He's selling them. They're buying it. It's just a matter of time. Look at the best players in the NFL. They might not have gone to Miami during this current era, but in the past, the guys who are going into the Hall of Fame right now did. And when you look at the best players in the NFL on both sides of the ball, they're all from Dade County, Broward County, Palm Beach County. Not every single one of them, but 85% of them are. The Boza brothers, imagine if they stayed at Miami. Patrick Peterson, Amari Cooper, imagine if they stayed at Miami. Jerry Jeudy, imagine if he stayed at Miami. All these great players that left. Patrick Surtain Jr., what if he stays at Miami? All these great players that slipped away, that Miami was in the recruiting battle for at the time and did not sign, that went somewhere else. They're winning those battles now. And it's like, that's where it all starts. You've got the transfer portal. So a lot of these Miami guys that left and went other places and aren't seeing the playing time that they were promised, or they are even seeing the playing time, they're going to start coming back home too. And I think this Cormani McLean, who we lost the number 6 overall last year, that ended up going to Colorado, flipping on signing day, even though we already had the number 5 overall. We had number 5 and 6 overall player this year. He flipped. He went to Colorado. He looked nice in the USC game, but he's a 160-pound corner. I think he's going to be a good one. But I would not be shocked if he ends up coming back to Miami at some point before it's all said and done, because it's going to be very, very exciting, this program.
Absolutely. All right, Mitch here. Miami money line plus 127 against Clemson Saturday night, 8 Eastern. What the hell? They're putting this on ACC Network. There's that. What's going to happen here, Mitch? What officiating crews? This is like an ABC type game. What's going on?
Well, it's up against some stiff competition on the other channels. So, Miami, by losing that game last week against North Carolina, that's where they end up landing because of this. And I think the other games, why is Penn State, Ohio State a 12 noon game? It doesn't even make any sense.
No, it doesn't. All right, Mitch, let everybody know what's happened over at Pick Dog Sports Chat Place. Lots of excitement here as we're getting ready for the NBA season in about a week.
I think Tony knows this about us, and he'll agree with me on this, is that a lot of the other websites out there, you see them all and you know who they are, and I won't mention their names because I don't want to give them any credit whatsoever, but they all sell out for NFL. They're all whores to the NFL, and they go all in on the NFL everything, but we don't. We just treat it as just another sport. We treat it with respect. We treat it just the same way we treat baseball or basketball or anything else. So when the NBA starts in college basketball season and all these other guys are only talking about NFL, we'll be pounding the college hoops hardwood as well as the NBA hardwood and covering it bigger and better than everybody else like we do all season long. So when the calendar turns to January and we smoke those guys and leave them in the dust, I don't know why they're always surprised. But anyways, we're going to kill them coming in the next few months with great college football and NFL picks. Few of our cappers, our best cappers, have had some slower starts to the seasons and have had some of their worst years that they've ever had. I think, it's going to happen. Nobody wins them all except for the guys on Twitter who can change their account every 2 weeks. But the thing is we know that our guys, I think it's an opportunity on some of these really good cappers to buy low because we know they're going to play to the back of their baseball card. And you want to be on the right side of it when they go on that tear. And I think a lot of them are wide open for it.
Yeah, and of course, Twitter cappers non-documented. Now you can't check the records. And let's not tell them. We'll kind of pull the curtain behind. I think we've approached some of these Twitter cappers, and when you start mentioning documentation, they don't like that too much.
No, they certainly don't, and they don't like transparency either of even to identify themselves. So it's like you can't cry that you've got screwed and ripped off when you fell for it.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yep.
So.
That's right.
I'm proud of what we've done. I'm out for a few days here at Pick Dogs. I don't know when I'm going to be back. But I will be back, bigger and better, stronger than ever. I'll only have one arm, so I'll only be able to type back the insults back to you guys in the chat and the comments with one hand. So it's not that I'm not going to respond. It's just going to be a little bit slower.
All right. Real good. All right, Mitch, have a great night, great couple of days. Get better, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Thankfully, I have a great team to cover for me, including you. Thanks, Tony.
You got it. Mitch here on the drive through. Let's continue on here. More college football talk. We'll bring in Big Al McMordie. Catch him over at Pick Dog Spring. We'll bring him in right now from hot, warm Southern California. Boy, if there was baseball out here today, we'd see some home runs. Almost record temps out here. I'll bring him in right now. Get him ready to roll here with some college football. Let's see if we can find Big Al McMordie here on our board. Here we go. Big Al. Big Al, what's happening?
Hi, Tony. I haven't even been outside today, so I had no idea that it was that hot.
Yeah, it's near rec temps in the 90s here in a little mid-October, we'll say. But we'll go to the Midwest here. College football, Big Ten country. NBC televises this one, Iowa and Minnesota. We see Iowa here laying 4. The total came down a half point in an hour here from 31.5. But there are 31.5s out there. 31 here at the sharpest book.
You see 4? I was seeing 3.5. On the game.
Looks like we just had this is the penny line, so the sharp people have just put money on Iowa right now.
Really? I'm looking at 32 books on my screen, but not Pinnacle, but every single one 3.5. Okay. Well, you can probably guess where I'm going with this.
That's right. Your buddies probably are all over that book right now. That's the sharpest book.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
But 3.5 is everywhere else except this book.
Yeah. The total's 31.5. There's actually only been 2 other games with a total this low the past 11 seasons in college football. And not surprisingly, both of those totals involve the Iowa Hawkeyes. Last year, the Iowa-Minnesota game had a 31.5 point total. The Hawkeyes won 31-10 as a 1-point road underdog. And then their bowl game versus Kentucky also had a 31.5 point total. Iowa shut out the Wildcats in that game 21-0. So both of those games went under the total. And over the last 11 years in college football, games have gone 20-7 under the total when the OU line was less than 37 points. I think this is going to be another low-scoring game. I'm going to take this under. I'm also going to take the Iowa Hawkeyes -3.5, notwithstanding that it's -4 at Pinnacle, Tony. Iowa's just been, all they do is cover when the point spread in the Big Ten, when it's pick 'em to -7 versus Big Ten foes. 61-26 ATS, their last 87. It's like clockwork, so I'll take Iowa minus the points as well, and I'll also take the under.
Yeah, and this point, I can't think of one of the better home teams against the spread than Iowa over the years. I don't know if you've tracked them, but man, it just seems for years they've been really good against the spread at home, especially in this type of under under 4 or less.
Yeah, I mean, it can take me a quick second to see what it is at home. Let's see. H. They're 131 and 117 ATS in all home games since 1980. It's looking conference games 94 and 80 ATS at home. 68 and 59 ATS is a favorite versus the Big Ten. Anyway, profitable.
There you go. Profitable in Iowa. Profitable at home, no doubt. Big Al here on Iowa. Laying at 3.5, under 31.5 here against me. So do your line shopping.
But to be clear, like if you go back 30 years, they've been really profitable. But then in the late 80s, early 90s, they were horrible at home. So they've been really strong since 1993.
Since 93, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's been pretty good home ATS there from Iowa here against Minnesota. They got that big run against Wisconsin from scrimmage. It's one of those big plays, right, with this defense. They can get it done. All right, Big Al here. We'll give you a double play here. Iowa, laying at 3.5. You can find 3.5 under 31.5. I always put the sharpest book up here, Pinnacle line, but these numbers are available in every other book. But better hurry because it'll probably get to 4 and 31 if you wait too long. So make a move.
Yeah, Pinnacle is definitely a foreshadow.
Yeah, no doubt about that. 3:30 Eastern time over on NBC. All right, Big Al, let's take a look over at Pick Dogs. Room for nice action. Of course, a light board hockey, a couple here. We've got some college football, Major League Baseball game, heading to a huge weekend. What do you have going on over at Pick Dogs Premium?
I've got side and total for the baseball game tonight, and then I've got 4 football plays for Thursday, 2 in college, and then side and total in the NFL. Nothing for Wednesday in football, but I do have 4 plays already posted for Thursday, including my Sunbelt game of the year. I pushed my Pac-12 game of the year last week on the Washington Huskies against Oregon, but I'm 45 and 21 my last 66 college football games or conference games or totals of the year. So look for a nice result with the Sunbelt game of the year on Thursday, and folks can pick it up. And they can also join for a week, a month, or a year and team me up with one of the other champion handicappers here at Pick Dogs on the 2-for-1 and 3-for-1 handicapper special.
That's right, guys. Got to work with Big Al McMordie over at Pick Dogs. Big game up from the Sun Belt tonight from Big Al. Of course, NFL. Instead of buying the plays individually, you can go longer term with Big Al. The 1-month pass will serve you well. All Big Al's premium plays, remainder of the baseball playoffs, 30 days of football, college football, NHL, NBA, about a week away. On Wednesday here, it'll be about, 12, 13 games. There'll be big cards coming up. And again, college basketball getting about November 9th, Mitch said. So that's already the countdown there. I better start. It's almost time for me to start studying college basketball. Look for some of these moves and these coaching changes, players changes in philosophy, the transfer portal. But as Big Al said, a lot of that's already in the line, right?
Yeah. And I already have my futures play for college basketball. I'm going to mine the same territory I did several years ago. I had Virginia at 22-1 odds the season after they, had that debacle where they lost the number 16 seed. Who was it? Was that Loyola Maryland? I can't remember. Which team beat Virginia?
What was it?
I can't remember which team. If it was UMBC, maybe it was UMBC. Was it UMBC?
Might have been, or I was trying to think if it was that coach that got promoted to Seton Hall. Oh man, I can't remember that now.
I was thinking maybe it was UMBC. I get all the. It was UMBC, the Retrievers. They beat Virginia. So then, of course, the next year, Virginia had their redemption season, and they won the championship at 22-1 odds. So I made so much money that year on Virginia. I'm taking Purdue this season.
Purdue, the big guy.
Purdue's the biggest laughing stock, obviously, in college basketball with how they flamed out in the postseason the last several years, and then last year, losing, to the number 16 seed. But the fact remains, they're number 3 in the country. I think Kansas is number 1 in the AP poll, but
they just came out.
Purdue still, they're a really good regular season team. They just have to put it together in the postseason. And obviously they have to improve their 3-point shooting. Last year, just 32% from 3-point land. And they have to limit their turnover. So, I mean, obviously Matt Painter has his work cut out for him, but at 17-1 odds, I'll take my chances.
See what player movement came in. If you're having a tough time making threes, maybe you can go into the transfer portal and find those 3-point shooters, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's. I don't know. I don't know if Painter was that successful though.
Yeah, that's a question mark. It's a nice top 10 team. That would be an attractive move for some of these players. Get into more high-profile games. Big Ten has a lot of coverage. They're on CBS. Seems like every other weekend, so it's a pretty good. And of course, they're featured on all the big broadcasts during the week. So it would not. We'll see how it rolls here. Well, I look forward to digging into my. I forgot the name of that even publication. That looks like
Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, Blue Ribbon. It's been for sale for a month. I've been putting it off too long, but I gotta make that purchase. Start digging into it. It's just obviously some of that information could be a little stale, but I just want to find out about the player movement, coaching, new coaching philosophies and whatnot going on, because some of that stuff is a little bit accurate, right? Some of these coaches that want to change tempo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of a day-to-day guy. I'm reacting to what happened to the previous game, the previous 3 games, etc. So the Blue Ribbon stuff doesn't have that much value for me. But yeah, it has unbelievable amount of information in them.
Yeah, you see a lot of the totals move some of these games, right. When you see the big total moves, it's a lot of times have to do with that information about the coaching changes and the philosophies they put into their new spots. All right, Big Al, let everybody know what you got going on. It's Big Al's All Access over at Pick Dogs.
Oh, sure. If folks want to join the All Access, we launched it a few weeks ago. We've had tremendous response, and we go a little bit deeper than on the premium side. One of the big things that customers can do is if they're going to the Arizona State Washington game this weekend, or even if they're watching on TV and it's 10 o'clock at night, they can text us even as late as 5 minutes before the game and ask us our opinion on that game. They can ask us for any opinion on any game on the board. So it's all access. It's 24/7. Doesn't matter how late at night. A lot of our customers, as you know, Tony, if I've got 10 plays on a Saturday, they may want more than 10. They may be going to the Miami Dolphin Philadelphia Eagle game on Sunday night, and they may want to put $20,000 on that game. So they want to go above and beyond what we give them on our premium. So the premium is really good for 99% of the people, but if you're the 1%, if you are betting 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 game, and you want all access, then just text Big Al to 775-636-7676, and you can get on board. As I mentioned, we've had a tremendous response, so thanks a lot to all who have joined so far. And if anyone has any questions, they can just get in touch with us.
You got it. You got the number there from Big Al as well as the text. All right, Big Al, as always, great having your show. We'll get back with you in a second. Someone in the chat room want to know what you think the Patriots' future is.
Patriots. Hopefully, it's Caleb Williams. I don't know what they mean, but
that's the play for that.
I don't quite understand that question. I mean, I don't know.
Who knows?
They're 1-5. They're in the running.
That's kind of, I think that's the plan. So we'll you can figure that out, right? All right.
Yeah. The problem is there's so many other teams that are 1-5 this year. I mean, you can't really plan for that. I mean,
yeah. Yeah. That's
there's only one. It's not like the NBA where it's a lottery. I mean, there's only one team can finish last. So
a lot of good quarterbacks coming out this year. So keep an eye. All right, Big Al. Have a great night. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks, Tony. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks tomorrow. Big Al McMordie here on the Drive Thru. All right, let's continue on here on the show. Up next, we're again Wayne Scott. Catch him over at Pick Dogs Premium. Got some NBA plays for me from Wayne. Of course, as you know, Wayne's been following NBA since the Summer League into the FIBA with that big winner with Germany to win the FIBA. 20-1 shot comes home for Wayne. Wayne, how's it going?
What's going on, Tony? What's going on, Pick Dog family? Hope everybody doing good out there today.
Everyone's doing great. Chat room looking on. Wait, where is the basketball guy coming on? Here he is. Wayne Scott is his name. Here we go. Nets and Heat going head-to-head tonight. We've seen some line movement here. Heat now a 1.5 favorite, total 224.5.
Yes, sir. They just announced that no Butler, no Hero, no Caleb Martin, no RJ Hampton, and no Jaquez, no Love. Most of the time when this happens, people run to the other side. It happens a lot during the season. They give you a late announcement. The points move a few points, and people run to the other side. I don't cap games like that for that. I cap games based off of the team, yes, based off of the players, but that don't necessarily mean run to the other side. A lot of the times you run to the other side and the original point spread, which is 5 in this game, still gets covered. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's one thing I love to keep an eye on when things like this happen. But I'm on the Heat in this one simply because they're one of the most dominant home teams when it comes to home teams. Eric Spoelstra has coached with a lot less. He has a way better team, a way stronger team this year. They still got additions like Thomas Bryant. I'm not sure if you guys watched him. He had a great season with the Lakers last year, a great addition for a big man. Bam's still playing. Solid guy like Richardson. Richardson comes in, solid scorer, knows what to do. Another guy that I like to keep an eye on with this team is Nikola Jovic. He played outstanding in the FIBA, and seeing him getting this type of time that he gets to get today with Jimmy Butler out, I still like where they sit in this game. I'm not just going to run to the other side. I actually just take a money line now instead of taking them on the spread. On the other side, we got Brooklyn. This is an outcast team, a bunch of guys who got sent there. And they're still finding chemistry. They're still finding identity. They're 0-2, and I just do not trust them. I'm not trusting Ben Simmons. Yeah, we've seen a little flash of revivalness in there, but I'm going with the team who wins at home. I'm going with the team with the better coach, and I'm going with the team with the chemistry, even missing the starters that they're missing. I like Miami in this one.
All right, Wayne says go Miami Heat. Money line now with this line move here, obviously resting some starters here as we're getting about a week away. Usually the preseason winds up on Friday, right, to get ready for that Tuesday start. So we're kind of getting to that point of the season, preseason now, where guys are playing for minutes. Who's going to make that the bench? Because if you make a roster in the NBA, it's a pretty good salary there for some of these guys competing here for roster positions here, and of course you want to find out how they fit in the rotation, right? Usually early on, though, Wayne, a lot of these coaches go pretty deep in the rotation, probably about the first 20 games of the season. It's not until the turn of the year when we really start to see them tighten up the rotation.
Yes, sir, and I agree with you big time, man. This part of these last few games, they are tightening up, checking out the rotations they have. And as Tony stated, beginning of the season, you're going to see some of these guys, but they're definitely going to dwindle down to about a 7-man, 8-man rotation at most. You're definitely not going to just see 10 guys playing night in and night. You got some guys, a few teams where they play only 6 and 7 players. They'll have those guys on the bench, but they just won't get the burn. So these are the times where you see what you have in your rotational players, and I kind of like what the Heat are doing, resting those guys, and they got a solid deep team this year, man. Like I said, man, Spoelstra has did a lot with a lot less, and I like the guys that they have on this bench, and now that they moved in this starting spot, I think they show up tonight against most of these starters versus Brooklyn. I do not think these guys play that long, even if they play the whole first quarter. I think Miami would be okay at home in this one.
All right, the interesting twist of this NBA season is in-season tournament and how we handicap that. Do we just handicap it like a regular season game? The players care about the money they're going to make here. It's a bit of a journey to get to the finals of this in-season tournament. It just means one more extra game, but it's a lot of money for you if you win it.
Yeah, I'm like you said, I'm not sure how the players feel about it. Do they is this something that they want to do? Is there something that they're going to want to push for? Of course, they're going to want to win it, but at the end of the day, are they going to be more just focused straight towards the championship, or is this going to mean something? So we'll know after this year, but it's definitely an interesting twist that the NBA has added to it.
Yeah, keep an eye on those dates. They've been broadcasting those dates. So those are circle dates for you on the calendar. Especially, you might want to take a look at how these teams approach these in-season tournament games, and how important qualification is, and of course getting into the knockout rounds, knockout stages. There's a lot going on here with this play-in tournament. It's basically a regular season game, but they add extra meaning to select number of these preseason games, these regular season games, and just label them as tournament games. So keep an eye there. Heat here now, money line now -110. Look at this, it's coming down as we speak here. So about even here against the Nets to start here, 7:30 East time. This is your TV game over on NBA TV. All right, Wayne, let's take a look over at pick.com for tonight's action. Of course, we got the baseball game up on the board, a few from college football, some on the ice. A great year from Wayne in Major League Baseball. Had a really good NBA season. We're about a week away. What do you have going over at Pick Dogs Premium?
Nothing for sale over there tonight. I just didn't love this card, and no bets that I wanted to put any money on. So really just focusing on tomorrow and getting into this weekend. It's a solid college football card, a lot of hockey, MLB game tomorrow, and solid NFL all over. So just want to make sure that I'm on all the right plays and focus on there. Very small card tonight, so nothing for me tonight. But always check me out on the 3-day, 7-day, and 30-day pass. Pair me up one of these top handicappers. So when I do drop these multiple bets that I'm on this week, you'll be on them with me nice and early, and let's cash for the weekend.
That's right. Catching the weekend here with Wayne Scott over at Pick.com. Great results here from Wayne. You can see the numbers there from Major League Baseball. It's been fantastic. Also coming off a profitable NBA season. He'll go long term. A lot of you guys like that 7-day pass. All of Wayne's premium plays for 7 days. All the baseball coverage. Football as well here in the 7 days. NFL, college football. Week 8 college. Week 7 NFL. When you get that 7-day pass. Pick is your promo code. Save that 15% off. All right, Wayne, as always, great having you show. Continue that great success. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow.
Thank you for having me, Tony T. Good luck with all your best Pick Dog family. Catch y'all tomorrow.
You as well. Wayne Scott here on the drive-thru. Let's continue on here on the drive-thru. Up next, we're going to go ahead and welcome in Rod Zawacky. Catch him over at Pick Dogs Premium. Rod's been good to us here, but with the peripheral. So we're going to feature peripheral here tonight, and it is a big game tonight in the WNBA. Will they crown a champion, or will there be a Game 5 in this series between the Aces here and Liberty? Bring in Rod right now. Rod, what's happening? You're on mute there, Rod.
Yep, I am on mute. Sorry about that. My dog started barking, didn't want to disturb the show, so sorry about that. Definitely, things are going good. Small card tonight, but I think we can find a couple winners, and
nice,
especially one here in this basketball game. I like this basketball game. This number keeps growing, and kind of like it.
Good to see the hat back. Good to see the hat back.
It is, yes. The
hat is back.
I know. I kind of like went against them when I took Nashville. I figured Nashville would come out, and ooh, did they ever not? The Oilers came out and showed up, and definitely there's some puck luck to that last night as well, because there was plenty of time. It looked like McDavid was going to go down, and all of a sudden he popped back up, and the puck was right in front of him, and he ripped it right in. And a couple times the puck just landed right in front of the Oiler, and it was too easy for him to rip it in the net. Those happen. Bounce back. Good to see. Long way to go. Still, 79 more games to go for the Oilers this season. So,
plus,
long way to go. Hey, your Kings got a win last night.
Yes, they did. They surprised me.
On the Jets.
Yeah.
Surprised me, too.
Yeah, it stayed under, too. They gave up only one goal, which was the biggest surprise of the whole thing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And good game for the Kings.
Yeah.
They needed that.
They needed that after losing both games. They got a point going to that shootout, that eight-round shootout like Carolina. Well, here's the shootout. Take it. No, we don't want it. So anyway, here we go. Here, no. WNBA. This is ESPN 8 Eastern. We've seen a line move. There's been some injury news since we previewed this game a few days ago. So now we got the line here about a few hours before game. Liberty laying 6 now. The total 168.5.
Yeah, you look at definitely going to be some injury news for the Aces. Kyla George and Alicia Clark definitely will be. They're usually bench players. Well, they have to step up and play in this game. But Alicia Clark, we've seen before. She's won 2 WNBA championships with Seattle back in 2018, 2020. She'll bring a little more of a defensive style of game for these Aces. These Aces that have been leading the WNBA in scoring offense with a couple players that are out, definitely going to turn into a little more of a defensive matchup. Like, I think that total, see, it's back down. It's down. It was up at 170, slowly on the lower. It's down to 168.5. I like the under there, but I also like the Aces. I think what they got, they'll play defensively. Asia Wilson will definitely come to play here in this one. Take the +6 if you would like. I'm also going to sprinkle a little on the money line. I think the Aces don't want to. If they want to win this series, they need to do it here and now. They don't want to see a Game 5 back at home, especially dealing with these injury issues. I think the Aces step it up defensively like they have done all season long, and I think they get the win here.
Rod says that X of the win. He said that earlier when it was 4.5, and not gonna stop now. Go ahead and take the extra value with the point, but like that sprinkle on the money line here against the Liberty, as looking for the Aces here. Rod to win the back-to-back titles.
Exactly, and Alicia Clarkin, I think she can do it defensively. She's going to be a huge step up here for the Aces. She's regularly played 20-plus minutes off the bench, so her playing a little more than 20-plus minutes in this one, she's ready to go. She's been there, done that, and people are forgetting that she's been there and done that, and thinking that these two injuries are going to make a big difference here. I think it will. It'll slow down the pace of the game because the Aces will slow down this pace. Love the under as well. 168.5. It's way too many points for the style of game that the Aces are going to force down the Liberty's throat in this one. So take the points. They're going to give us 6. Take the 6. Also put a little bit on that money line. I think the Aces finish it off tonight and parade around in New York.
There you go. The parade run and roll here. Ready to roll here with Rod. Okay, we go Aces plus 6 here. Real quick here, Rod, what do you think here? We didn't cover this one. The TV game, TNT Penguins and Red Wings.
This is the one that was actually mistaken in the video. The edited guy, he's human. He made a mistake. He had me on the over 6.5. I like the under 6.5 in this game. Tristan Jarry's stepped off for these Penguins with a sub-2 goals against average to start the season. Husso should get started for the Red Wings as well. And he's off to a little rough start, but I think these are one of the ones where he steps up, and we got kind of a goalie duel on our hands in this one. I like the under 6.5 here.
Under 6.5 there from Rod here. Penguins and Red Wings. All right, Rod, let's take a look over at Pick Dodge for tonight's action. Of course, we've got Rod with a great start. NFL and college football. This is the NFL, 635 units of profit. But you combine the sports here, over 1,000 units of profit for Rod's been on fire. Of course, we've got a few from college football tonight. NFL hockey. Tomorrow we start the next week from the NFL. What do you have going over at the site?
Yeah, and over at the site tonight, I got one play. I got my NHL Howitzer play of the day. You can scoop that up singly over at the site. I also have my 10-star play of the day tomorrow. I didn't find a 10-star play of the day that I loved today, but it's tomorrow. It's in college football action. You can scoop it up. $19 play available right now. Or grab something long-term. Join me for the week, and you'll get NHL, college football, and the rest of the NFL on Sunday. We got the NFL game tomorrow, so definitely lots of sports action to jump aboard. Use that promo code PICK at checkout. Join me long term. As you can see, we've been crushing it in college football and the NFL combined. So I have a combined package, $7.99. If you use that promo code PICK, save 15% off. Can't go wrong with that. I'll get you all the football right on through to the Super Bowl.
That's right,
Jump
guys.
aboard.
Jump on board. Crush the bookie with Rod Zawacky over at Pick Dog Trim. You see the great results in football. Long-term pass is the way to go. Remember the promo code PICK at checkout. You'll save that 15% off. All right, Rod, as always, great having you show. Continue that success. We'll catch up with you again on Steak Friday. Let everybody know about your video series, the hockey videos.
Yeah, definitely like, subscribe. That way you get notified when those hockey videos get released. We got a dozen games going tomorrow, and I got a parlay for you as well. Nice 2-teamer, so definitely check those out. They'll be dropped in the next few hours, and definitely you have yourself a good night, Tony, and we'll catch you on Steak Friday. I think we're gonna have a strip loin, just a nice little strip loin.
Strip loin, okay.
A little strip loin for Friday.
Very good. Ready for Friday's steak strip loin. All right, Rod, have a great night. We'll catch up with you again Friday.
Take care, Tony. See you Friday.
Rod Zawacky here on the drive-thru. All right, guys, we'll continue on here. Up next is Dana Lane, but my game starts in 5 minutes, so I'll just post it up here right now. Let me find it. Let me get to it here. Oh, here we go. It's not going to be this. It's not going to be this one. This is Dana's game, but I'm going to go here and let you know it's going to be this one. FIU and Sam Houston State. And my pick in this one will be on over the total of 42. Sam Houston State over the past 3 games, they have been a passing team, no longer just running the football. They put up some passing yards, so I look for a lot more passing attempts here from Sam Houston State. And this is an opportunity to get their first win. They're 0-6. I'm not touching that spread, but I'll look over the total of 42 as Sam Houston State is now passing the ball at a much higher rate than they have since the start of the season. Look at the past 3 games, so that's how we'll go there. All right, let's continue on here on the drive-through. Up next, we'll go ahead and bring in Dana Lane. You can catch him over at Pick Dogs Premium. Let me get to his game here before we bring him here on the show. We are going to catch him on, let's see here. This will be his game, so let's go ahead and bring him in, catch him at Pick Dogs Premium. Of course, catch his video series, Public Betting. It's very, very informative information with great picks from Dana. I think we're set to roll here with Dana Lane. Dana, what's happening?
Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Doing great. All right, here we go. This one's 9 Eastern time, New Mexico State and UTEP. This line's kind of held steady, although we did see a 2.5 pop up very shortly, but it came back to 3 here. Aggies 3 here, total 47.5.
Yeah, I was really encouraged by what we saw last week against Florida International. I mean, usually when we talk about UTEP, I mean, this is it's an automatic go against. In fact, both of these teams have been fantastic. Better than they have been, obviously, over the years. But for UTEP, they've put up at least 27 points in 2 of the last 3 games. Now, granted, and why I have some pause with this is the fact that in the first quarter they put up 21 of those points and only had 6 the remainder of the game. So that gives me some pause. But from a defensive standpoint, they were absolutely fantastic in that game. And I usually handicap games based upon which team I think is better defensively. And not only do I think UTEP is going to cover that spread, but I think they're going to win this game straight up. Sorry if you saw my cap. And so, anyway, I expect Cade McConnell to have an even better game than they did last week, or he did against the secondary that was torched against Hawaii. I mean, if Hawaii is going to put up yards against you, I don't feel good about putting my money behind a team like that. And I think we need one more win. I know New Mexico State's having a tremendous year, but I really think that we need one more win before Jerry Kill's team is, in my mind at least, is one of those teams that I'm going to put my money behind long term. I mean, New Mexico State has a long history of not playing well, and these little games. I mean, even if it's just against UTEP, I mean, these are like stepping stones. I saw it here at UNLV where just little wins against teams or games that the rest of the nation wouldn't even, think twice about. These little wins are what catapults I'm having a rough day, catapults a program. So I like UTEP. I'm going to take the 3 in this. And obviously, if they stop Diego Pavia, that's going to go a long way. He's a dynamic quarterback. If you haven't seen him play yet, do yourself a favor because he can beat you with his arm and his legs. They have a tremendous offensive line. So the work is going to be cut out for the Miners for sure. But if they could stop that run and keep Pavia in the pocket and keep him from running to the outside, that's where he really beats us, especially inside the 20. They got a shot to win this game. I think it's a big game for both programs to really elevate themselves to the next level.
That's right. Dana here on UTEP +3 against New Mexico State. Kilda, I think, has done that, right? Exceeded everyone's expectation, getting into a bowl game and winning their bowl game last year. When you look at their offense, I mean, it was like 440 yards. Is this New Mexico State? I mean, this is a team that usually did last year, even when they had that slinging coach. I can't remember back when they used to play those Sunday college football games. That New Mexico State was always on those. It seemed like they were on those games a lot, on those Sunday night college football games on ESPN2. For some reason, they decided to go against the NFL there for a few years. But, their offense is picked up. Of course, obviously, Cardison, I don't think he's going. Looks like McConnell. But, again, one good, one bad start. You kind of weigh it in with McConnell under center here for UTEP.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. I mean, it's really the number for me, Tony. When I looked at that number, I said, that's, you do this long enough, and you get a kind of a gut reaction to a number, and that number to me favors UTEP. And of course, UTEP's had all kinds of issues at quarterback this year. I mean, they've had, I think four different players take snaps. Certainly the top starter and then the backup. But their work is definitely going to be cut out for them. But you're going to know this, and you're going to know how well they're going to do in the first quarter, because if they really stuff the run against a tremendous, really great run blocking team in New Mexico State, if they're able to overcome that, I think they'll win this game. But like you said, I mean, this is a New Mexico State team that's 23rd in the nation and rushing just under 200 yards a game. So statistically speaking, and I can see why probably this line has moved up a little bit statistically speaking. You look at it on paper, and New Mexico State probably is the better of the team. I mean, even a guy like Star Thompson, who it kind of gets lost in the shuffle, was averaging almost 5 yards a carry. I mean, that these are all numbers you want to see when you're betting a team, but that number's a little light to me, and that's telling me to run the other way, which I'm going to do tonight.
Yeah, it looks like the sharps are split here because when I went to 2.5, it's been bought back to 3. So we got Dana here. UTEP plus the 3 against New Mexico State. Again, it's hard to see UTEP favorite on the road, and that's something you don't see very often here. But here tonight, 8-9 Eastern time, and this one gets ESPN2 treatment. All right, Dana, let's take a look over at Pick Dog for tonight's action. Of course, we've got a couple from college football on the ice. We got that standalone baseball tonight, a big game 3 here, Rangers Astros. Great start to the year, NFL from Dana. What do you have going over at Pick Dogs Premium?
Yeah, just one NHL game that's up there tonight. Pittsburgh, Detroit is still up on the board, and of course I have three college football plays from the 2 games, a side in total in the later game, and of course the side in the early game we just discussed with UTEP. So those games are still up on the board. We have a brand new package that I put up. It's a 1 week. You get 7 straight days of football up there. I can't believe I didn't have that up there already, but I put that up there last week. And, of course, the Major League Baseball postseason package is still available. That will be adjusted as we get into the World Series. And people seem to be jumping on board, loving the new video series, which have done extremely well in 58% winners to start and turned things around the NHL last night. So things are looking up, and it's been a great month, and I appreciate everybody that's jumped on board with me.
That's right, guys. Got to work with Dana Lane over at Pick Dogs Premium. Great start here. NFL season, 501 units, a profit, all document over at Pick Dogs Premium. So a good time to get on board with Dana. Had a profitable football season last year, so you can get on board, buy the plays individually, or go with a long-term pass. You see it there, 3, 7, or 30 all sports pass. Get all of Dana's premium plays for that time period you select. When you go to his handicap page, make that purchase. Remember the promo code PICK at checkout saves you 15% off. You can add multi-cappers with the multi-capper promotion. Even greater value there, right? Dana, as always, great having you show. We'll catch up with you again next week. Everybody know your video series at Public Betting gets a good response from everybody in the chat, and of course, with a lot of great information there. It's not always obvious. Sometimes when it's too obvious, you kind of uncover why it's not.
Well, that's right. And one of the problems that we were always having is I kind of made an adjustment, especially when it comes to the NHL, because Tony, when we're dealing with money lines, the public, and especially with a show that's called Against the public's right more than they're not in baseball and in the NHL. So, when you kind of pigeonhole yourself, we kind of changed it a little bit where I was able to agree with the public in some way because it's really about the profit margin at the end rather than the wins and losses like it is with the NBA or football. So, we changed it a little bit so we can focus on the teams that we really want to give out and still kind of go against the public at the same time. But it's been a tremendous response, and very happy with the comments, and nothing negative despite a few down days. But for the most part, 58% winners. You can't throw that away.
Yeah, and the information is fantastic, guys. Check it out. Public Betting, it's the numbers there with Dana's video series. Make sure you like, subscribe, set notifications so when it drops, you get notified. Get the plays, get the best numbers. All right, Dana, have yourself a great week. We'll catch up with you again next week.
Okay, you too, Tony. Thanks for having me.
You as well. Dana Lane here on the drive-thru. All right, let's continue. You guys got my pick, so let's get to the recap. I'll let you roll here for a Wednesday. Tomorrow we'll be back here with another show at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So let's go ahead and get the recap screen up, and we're ready to roll here for today. Let's see. Let's pull it up here. Recap. All right, here we go. Start with Chris. Chris liked the Senators to win in regulation, minus 110 against the Capitals. Mitch says Miami Hurricanes money line plus 127 against Clemson. Big Al McMordie, Iowa, lay the 3.5 and under 31.5 points against Minnesota. Wayne like the Heat now, money line. This line has moved down to about -1, but he says money line with the Heat. That's minus 110 both sides against the Nets. Rod says take the Aces here, +6, and even take sprinkle a bit on the money line against Liberty. Dana likes UTEP plus the 3 against New Mexico State. I'll be on FIU with Sam Houston State over 42. One I like the most, I like Big Al with the under 31.5. Iowa and Minnesota. That looks to me like a field goal kicking contest. the way they play offense. All right, that's gonna do it for this edition of the Drive-Thru, guys. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow live here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll do it all over again. We'll bring our Cappers and Pink Dogs and Sports Chat place. They'll go up their place for you in real time. Remember, it always gets started with the morning show. During the week, it's 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Chris and Jay for the next couple of days, and Mitch will join them later in the week as usual. And, of course, all the video series, Mitch's 7 picks in 5 minutes. Betting Tools Show, of course, Chris Wraparound Series, NHL, Big Al, All Access with Big Al. Check that out, that video series up there right now. Dana, public betting as well from Dana. Also, Rod Zawacky with his NHL video series is up right now. Ron Romanelli runs down the college football and MLB. Jay runs down the NFL live show as well. College football live show up as well. Lots of video content. Nick Mencken, Nerfies, Yerfies. Mike Davis shows as well on the network. And, of course, a lot more coming up here. Of course, don't forget about Wayne with his boxing series, The Punch Dog. You can find him here on the channel. All right, that's gonna do it here. Just one more like, subscribe. Of course, make sure you set those notifications. So, also, we have a lot of live shows. Remember, on Thursday night, it's the half times with Mitch and Jay. Maybe just Jay tomorrow. We'll see how that rolls. And then Mitch will be out. All right, that'll do it for the show tonight. Let's bring up the crew.